Jake Ludington here at HP Pathways to the Cloud Roadshow 2012 from Dallas, Texas. And I'm here with Charlie Bess, who is a cloud advisor. And we're going to talk a little bit about HP Public Cloud. And there's a number of public cloud offerings. And HP announced last year that they were getting into the space in a beta. It's still in beta, but I assume it's going to come out of beta at some point. Why is it that HP decided to get into the space?
Well, I think obviously there's a huge market. And HP, as I think you probably heard earlier today, HP is about choice in the cloud space. We don't want to make choices for you. We want to enable you to make choices. And some of those choices might be public, some of them might be private, some of them might be hybrid, somewhere in between. And of course, there's always the choice of staying where you're at on your own personal hardware or your own private hardware. So a lot of what HP is looking at is the degree of market and what kind of are the special needs associated with each of those different tiers of capability. We were having some discussion earlier about things like infrastructure as a service, sort of the foundational layer of cloud, and that allows you to have the automation of virtualized machine creation and bringing up environments on that, which is where really Amazon, I think, is most known for. And then you get up to platform as a service, where you begin to have greater functionality, where Microsoft's probably best known for Azure, having database functionality and other kinds of capability. Now HP is actually, a lot of the public cloud work is spread across there. It's between those two spaces. You can always have an infrastructure as a service environment, but it also adds some other capabilities on top of that. And then in the private cloud environment, we also provide support for you having your own environments, or even setting up your own cloud environment that you can sell to others, either in a software as a service space. Many companies are taking their intellectual property they have now, putting the serving or the hosting behind it, so that their clientele can pay more by the drink model instead of by the license model. But that's actually one of the key issues that organizations need to be very well aware of, is the licensing issues as you begin to move into cloud. But that's probably a whole other discussion.
Licensing is a whole different issue. What about in the HP cloud? You're mentioning that it is kind of in between infrastructure and platform as a service models. Are there specific automation components that HP has enabled that are maybe brought over from cloud system that make that kind of a hybrid?
Well, when you get into a private cloud, particularly at the infrastructure as a service level, what happens is a lot of those support kind of issues that organizations like are used to having people doing are actually performed by the service provider. And what you need to have is access to information and access to the ability to, particularly if you're going to go into what's called a cloud bursting model, being able to understand how the performance and being able to move workload between the two. And one of the things HP is definitely doing a lot of focus around is enabling that deeper understanding of what's going on and how to make that movement and do it, have that monitoring of the enterprise's usage and even to some extent the value generated from the use of those resources.
And then the public cloud is kind of in the similar model to AWS, where you pay for what you use, as opposed to kind of on a monthly billing cycle. But you also have an enterprise product, I understand, that is kind of more on a traditional, you're on a monthly invoice kind of situation.
Well, in that particular case, there's a wide variety of capabilities on that sort of enterprise private cloud kind of model, where you can, because one of the things, whenever an organization has their private cloud, they still need to bill out to the rest of the corporation, typically, on things that are meaningful to that corporation. And so one of the things that's critical is to give the organizations the tools that they need, because as I talk to people, nobody cares if the lights are flashing and discs are spinning and if they aren't getting any value out of it. So you got to be able to give that insight into how's the business value being generated by this hardware, and that's one of the things that I think HP has spent a lot of effort around putting in place the capabilities that you can have sort of standardized approaches to that, but also you can customize it and have that deep understanding for your own deployment.
And in terms of kind of mind share in the public cloud space, obviously Amazon has a lot of recognition. Microsoft's kind of inching their way up there, yes, on the platform side. But how is HP planning to compete in that sense? How are you guys differentiating yourselves to make the HP public cloud an attractive offering?
Well, I think one of the ways is that, as I mentioned when we were talking before, that there's a breadth of capability, and HP plans to support the whole breadth, whether it's your own cloud or a public cloud or some hybrid of the two, and that by itself, I think, is differentiating. And then you add on top of that, say, industry-specific capabilities that the enterprise services side of HP is focused on, where you begin to look at industry software and how it's deployed on certain kinds of hardware and how you would monitor and have the capabilities to expand that. That's a space where I'd say the two examples you gave earlier of companies have no interest because they're focusing on the mass market and not on the needs of any particular organization. And I think HP can differentiate itself quite well with those industry flavors, and then also even down into the particular organization and their needs.
Is there integration points that are going to possibly marry the private cloud offerings that you currently have around like Cloud System Matrix with possibly like a burstable out to the HP cloud?
Yeah, I think that that integration point is, or the multiple integration points are key because very few of the software packages that have been written to date have been based on this perspective of abundance of computing capability. They were all based on a scarcity model. And so when you begin to think about how you can take advantage of that abundance of computing and the kind of interface points you would need and ensuring that once you get the data onto the, say, a public cloud provider, how you get it back, and because really the money is made on the transport side of that equation, that it's a key area that organizations need to think through and understand the depth of. And when you think about what's going on with the mobile computing space and how we have billions of devices out there that are trying to access an abundance of compute power. So you have an abundance of devices in the field with abundance of compute power and really an abundance of networking capability. That's a whole different model. And so that's key that organizations think through what they're trying to get out of it and how that can differentiate them in the marketplace.
What are some of the cool things that we're going to see as a result of something like that, where we've got billions of devices and this infinite or seemingly infinite cloud?
Well, that's a tough thing to answer. I mean, you're already seeing quite a shift in behavior of mobile devices, say within the last 2 years from the way they acted, before that. And then as you begin to have even more sensor capability and more embedded devices, you're going to have another order of magnitude of shift going on. So like today, you can buy devices that you can put into your plants at home that will tell you if they're getting too much light or getting too much water or not enough water, and they'll Twitter you or they'll instant message you and that kind of thing.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I mean, there's a botanicals.com, I think, is the device that you can do that. And you can do the same thing for dogs. If your dog barks too much, rather than having your neighbor call you, your dog's collar can call you and tell you there's something going on here. And you're seeing more and more of that kind of embedded applications based on where need is, because we were actually having a conversation at lunch today. You never have enough time, you never have enough attention, so anything you can do to automate that or focus your attention where it's needed at any moment in time is where I think you're going to see a huge shift in how cloud and the mobile devices as well, this whole distributed model comes into play.
All right, well, I look forward to the future where my plants can tell me they need water.
Great.